And here's what's happening in North America. On Tuesday, the 25th of October, Canada's Prime Minister faced a robust crowd at the Young Workers' Summit, some of whom did not appear convinced of his promise that labour is an essential part of an economy tamed by environmental concerns. Liana, what do you make of Prime Minister Trudeau suggesting he did not want to take any more questions in English, right after reprimanding a portion of his audience, who had literally turned their backs on him?
Well, first it must be said the Prime Minister maintained a dignified tone, if somewhat condescending, like a schoolmaster's in the face of unruly students. But I think his appeal to be spoken to in French, which you will hear at the close of this audio clip, signals his linguistic retreat from the field of battle, and it is met with the prompt allegation in English, "You turned your backs on us."
And again, the symbol that you're sending of turning your backs to someone who is engaging with you and listening to your questions is maybe not the right one that all of you should be sending, but that's your choice and you're free to do it.
All right, we have another question.
Peut-être une question en français. Une question en français, ce serait bien.
Again?
You turned your backs on us!
That is an interesting point, and we could talk about French and English in Canada and the politics of the bilingual aristocracy, but I don't think Justin was retreating from anybody today. In fact, the Prime Minister showed remarkable restraint. This is, after all, the leader of a nation, the head of our cabinet here in Canada, having his efforts to talk to youth about their concerns wasted by what was clearly a staged form of protest. In fact, let me read the mission statement for this year's gathering of National Young Workers. This summit will bring together young workers, youth activists, and allies to build young workers' power, to address the changing nature of work, empower young and new leadership in workplaces and unions, and lay the framework for a renewed and growing labor movement. So let's just think about this. Is Justin's economic vision going to grow jobs to make room for this growing labor movement? That is not relevant here. This is not about growing jobs for young workers. This is about the growth of a political force in Canada that is laying the groundwork for the political transformation of this nation, which, by the way, is not going to be done at the ballot box, nor will it be about having a conversation, as our Prime Minister found out today.
Thank you for your openness to actually hearing my answers. Thank you for challenging me. I need you to continue to challenge me, continue to pass those messages, and I will keep my promises. That is a commitment I make to you. That is a commitment I made to Canadians, and that's how I was raised. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Thank you very much.
The framework for this political change, against which Justin Trudeau's Liberal policies are not radical enough, is the one we witnessed today. Turning your backs to the speaker is a way of saying, we don't care what you have to say. The staged outbursts, such as, "You turned your back on us," were mild and yet accurate examples of the tactic known as shouting down your opponent in the streets. This is not about having a conversation. The National Young Workers Summit in Ottawa is about exactly what it says it's about, establishing power. And as suggested by the chosen symbol, whether they intended it or not, it has plenty of hammer in it, but no sickle. The dominant force here is not workers, but rather activism. Don't be fooled by the words youth and young. These are adults, coddled as they may have been by our university's safe space policies, which protected them from any opinions veering away from the politically correct agenda and its war against the free markets. These activist adults are now wetting their teeth in the business of staged political agitation.
Could you clarify the connection you are suggesting between university education in Canada and the National Young Worker Summit?
From what I see of their actions and the content of their mission statement, the National Young Workers Summit, or its more vocal factions, are true believers in the campus revolution, targeting today the cherished beliefs of our society. They are the well-meaning foot soldiers of political correctness, marching as always under the banner of human rights and tolerance, while they seek to root out everything deemed politically incorrect. For the most part, they have been trained and motivated either by women's studies, cultural studies, gender studies, or by the graduates of these schools of activism. And clearly the summit as a whole has chosen as its banner the red hammer, a symbol reminiscent of the former Soviet Union, a regime not known for tolerance and human rights, although it did have an education system which indoctrinated its youth to be politically correct. The campus revolution is now set loose in the broader Canadian society, and the Workers' Summit in Ottawa is one example of the growing power of political correctness. What Justin faced today, admirably, in my opinion, with humility and statesmanship, is but a mild taste of what faces us down the road. In North America, the campus radicals may prove to be part of an unstoppable political force, comprising a globalized collective that will, as every movement before it in history seeking to bring about equality in outcomes has done so, stoop to the tactics of a brutal pragmatism.
We will return to Mr. Roberts for further commentary in our upcoming segment. While Prime Minister Trudeau met with the Workers' Summit in Ottawa Tuesday, Justin Trudeau's American counterpart waved goodbye at Los Angeles International Airport. Before boarding Air Force One, President Obama had spent a few days in California and Nevada, campaigning for the Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton.
President Obama's rival candidate in the general election, Donald Trump, has been campaigning on the East Coast in Florida. Tuesday afternoon he spoke at a rally in Sanford.
And also on Tuesday, the Obama administration itself revived Hillary's email controversy, in an apparent attempt to clarify that while the president did send emails to Hillary when she was Secretary of State, he did not know that his emails to Clinton were ending up on a non-secure server.
The Obama administration acknowledged Tuesday the president did trade emails with Secretary Clinton, not a large number of them. Speaking further on the matter, White House spokesman Josh Earnest stated, "Of course the president had possession of Secretary Clinton's email address, but he did not have any knowledge of where her server was located or what sort of arrangements had been made to store her email."
For analysis of this White House briefing, we turn once again to Mr. Roberts.
Roberts, you get up here in one quick hurry!
Well, the headlines are adamant that President Obama's statements regarding the email scandal range from factual to entirely factual. Now, if we take this at face value to be true, that leaves us with some interesting questions. How could the president or his staff not know that his own Secretary of State was breaching security protocols, and that his emails to Hillary were ending up on a non-secure server? And what does that say about the president's or his own staff's situational awareness?
It strikes me as plausible that if not one soul from the State Department breathed a word to White House staffers about Hillary's breach in security procedures, that no one in POTUS would have known. But my question would be as follows: since FBI Director James Comey absolved Hillary Clinton of wrongdoing, and there is nothing criminal in her intentional use of a non-secure server, why is the White House going to pains to insist the president knew nothing about a matter that, according to his own Department of Justice, is not criminal?
That's a great question, Cadence, and one answer is that White House staffers are distancing the president from a breach in security that was, in fact, criminal. Remember how that in July, at which time he announced no charges against Hillary, James Comey of the FBI also reserved the right to charge any similar breaches in security in the future. Secondly, President Obama, in spite of assurances he gave the press last August that he is only one man with one vote like the rest of Americans, has in fact been actively campaigning in Nevada and California this past week and using the resources of his office, including Air Force One, to do so. Here's my question. Is he campaigning for Hillary, or is he trying to preserve his own legacy? And if this is an all-out effort to support Hillary, why is the White House on Tuesday distancing itself from the email scandal? Why mention it at all, when to do so can only hurt Hillary's campaign?
So do you believe that President Obama's top priority is to preserve his own legacy, and that therefore, staffers will distance him from the email scandal, regardless of how it hurts the Hillary campaign?
Well, you know what? Instead of speculating about priorities and motives, let's look at the pattern emerging. Because at the end of the day, all there is what it looks like. In August, it looked like President Obama was hinting at maintaining a presidential distance from the upcoming general election, other than, of course, his having given Hillary his full endorsement. I mean, what else could his saying, "I'm just one man with one vote," mean? And now he has actively campaigned throughout the fall, almost as if he were Hillary's running mate. Look at last July. the FBI chose to not charge Hillary, but today, Tuesday, White House staffers are assuring us the president knew nothing of her using a non-secure server. So what's in the works for Hillary Clinton in November, should she win the election? What will the FBI script be then?
Meaning what exactly?
Meaning that should Hillary win the general election in November, and Donald Trump is removed as the threat he is to the White House, to the doyens of Wall Street and the business establishment, to mainstream media, to the academic complex, maybe then, when the dust settles, the FBI finds new evidence for its case against Hillary Clinton.
I'm going to ask you to hold that thought until the next broadcast, in which we will return to the theme of former Justice Department Attorney J. Christian Adams and the idea that there may be certain vulnerabilities in the election system itself. For Radio Free Canada America, this is Broadcast Lead, out.